It's another divestment disaster!
Now available in paperback and e-readers, Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer. Take a trip into the macabre world of goth modeling in the new millennium in this spooktacular Spinsterella story. Pick up your copy of Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Better get the coleslaw, y'all, cause we're having us a barbecue. A black woman from Allentown, Pennsylvania was allegedly shot and killed by her white ex-boyfriend, who allegedly broke into her apartment and shot her multiple times with an AR-15 style rifle.
Breaking news just into our newsroom. A man has been arrested after an overnight shooting killed a woman in Allentown. It happened around 4:30 this morning on the 700 block of Turner Street. Police found the woman suffering from gunshot wounds and she was pronounced dead at the scene. Police say 27-year-old suspect Adam Makoka was taken into custody in Lansdowne, Delaware County. Makoka is now awaiting extradition to Lehigh County to face homicide charges.
Now, according to reports, Jakira Battle, a 22-year-old young black woman, got involved in an interracial relationship with Adam Makoa, a 27-year-old white man. And as she got into this relationship, the relationship started to deteriorate according to one of her friends, and she alleges that Adam Makoa began abusing Jakira Battle, and as the relationship turned into domestic violence, this is where Jakira Battle allegedly decided to end the relationship. And as she looked to end the relationship while she was pregnant, she then got involved with another man, Joshua Hoffner. And that's when Adam Makoa's behavior started to turn extremely antisocial, with him stalking and harassing Jakira Battle. And as he stalked and harassed Jakira Battle and her new boyfriend, eventually he began to escalate his behavior to going from stalking to look to do harm to Jakira Battle by going to her apartment in the 700 block of West Turner Street and accessing her apartment through the fire escape and through a roof access door. And as he entered the apartment through the roof access door, this is where Adam Makoa allegedly took an AR-15 rifle that he brought with him and fired it in Jakira Battle's bedroom, and as he fired it in the bedroom, he wound up shooting Jakira Battle multiple times with the AR-15 style rifle before Joshua then took the gun and pushed it up, and as Adam Makoa emptied the clip of the weapon, eventually neutralizing its threat. Eventually what happened was, after Adam Makoa ran out of bullets, he then looked to flee the scene, and as he looked to flee the scene of this crime, he then left Jakira Battle in the hallway of her apartment dead, and basically left this child without a mother. Now, as Adam Makoa had committed this crime, he left a lot of evidence at Jakira Battle's apartment, such as the case that he was shown on video coming in with the AR-15 rifle and a sweatshirt, and all of this was recovered on the building's roof, along with all of the spent bullet clips from the gun that he had shot her with. And as a result, the police eventually wound up catching up with 27-year-old Adam Makoa in Lee County, and as they caught up with him in Lee County, Delaware, near Philadelphia, they wound up taking him into custody. Now, the police are seeing this as an isolated incident, but when I take a critical examination of this tragic turn of events, it not only fits the story of a divestment disaster, but also fits the pattern and profile for beta males that I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis. And when I look at this whole situation with Jakira Battle, she looks like one of these women who basically wanted to go out here and get with one of these white guys looking to possibly divest from the black community. And as she looked to divest from the black community and looked to have a relationship with this white man, what possibly could have happened is that this black woman thought that she could go out here and have the same kind of relationship that she had in the past with many of these pookies, skillets, and man-mans in the black community with this white man. And that's where she wound up in a case of an extremely rude awakening, because when it comes down to those black guys, many of those black guys, as related to them being beta, they have been conditioned by the system of white supremacy to look to submit to a black woman, and they fear for their lives because they fear that if this black woman goes out here and makes a threat against them, what will happen is that this woman can call the police and basically wind up ruining their entire life by getting them locked up. So a lot of black women, what they will do is again get involved with Pookie, thinking that the power and leverage they have with black men is something that they can have with these white men. And that's possibly what I believe happened here. I believe what happened here is that while everything was heading towards happily ever after in Jakira Battle's eyes in the beginning, as related to this relationship with this white man, who she was possibly spellbound and eventually was deifying and worshiping like a god, started to end when she started to see his human flaws. And as she started to see his human flaws, eventually what happened was that she started to change her behavior to become more natural. And as her behavior became more natural, she started to go out here and start participating in the same type of behavior that she's used to doing with Pookie, Skillet, and Man in the relationship, by going out here and again expressing things with that big mouth that many black women have, the bad attitude many black women have, and looking to mouth off at this white man the same way they used to do with Pookie, Skillet, and Man. And when she tried to do this with this white man, that's when she wound up possibly in the shock of her life. And that's when she found out that the stuff that she pulls with Pookie, Skillet, and Man ain't gonna go with this white guy. And as she found this out, that's when the relationship started to deteriorate and possibly, according to the best friend, started to become abusive. Because what happened is that as the cultures started to clash, that's where this white man who wanted to get into this relationship with this black woman thought he was going to be able to get in a relationship with this black woman where she would look to submit to him. But when it comes down to the modern black woman is not used to submitting to anyone, especially if she's raised in a single mother household. If that black woman is raised in a single mother household, she's looking to lead the relationship. And again, that causes a clash between the beta white males that she usually gets involved with and her. And that eventually winds up with a whole situation where we have this whole conflict as related to a power struggle, because the white man is in the relationship with this black woman because he wants power, and with beta males they basically want to have a lot of power because they're not used to having power in anything in their life. And that was the basis, I believe, for the abuse that this woman went through that eventually led to this relationship deteriorating as she got pregnant. And as she got pregnant with this man's baby, what happened was that she basically saw this relationship falling apart. And as she saw this relationship falling apart, that's where she decided to get involved with another simp. I mean, when I look at this Joshua guy, I basically see another simp that she looked to get involved with, because most smart men, they're not looking to get involved with no woman who's already pregnant with another man's baby. No, that man will basically say, hey, that chick is sufficiently obligated. She got a baby daddy. I ain't getting in the middle of that hot mess. But this Joshua Hoffner guy looks like another white male simp who decided to get involved with Jakira Battle. And again, as she was looking to get to another road to happily ever after. She didn't understand that when it comes to these beta males, again, when it comes to them and relationships, things never end well, because beta males in and of themselves are terrible enders, and they're terrible enders of relationships. You can go read about that in Dr. Robert Glover's No More Mr. Nice Guy book. He goes in depth on how things with beta males never end very well, or nice guys ever end well, because these men just can't stand losing. They can't stand when things don't go their way. And that's where Adam McCullough's behavior started to go from domestic violence, because he couldn't control the relationship, because he basically couldn't control himself, to him getting more out of control. And as he got more out of control, that's where he began to go out here and stalk Jakira Battle and her new boyfriend Joshua Hoffner. That's where he began stalking and harassing this woman, instead of understanding that he could have just charged this woman to the game. Yeah, he would have had to pay some child support for the mixed baby he had wound up having with this woman, but he would have been home free to go pursue a relationship with another black woman if that's what he wanted to do, or pursue a relationship with a white woman if that's what he wanted to do. But unfortunately, again, when it comes to beta males, they just can't take a loss. And because they can't take a loss, because it disrupts their smooth world and disrupts their smooth life that they had before, what happens with these men is, since they can't take that loss, what they do is look to go out here and look to make things as they think better, make things better as related to the situation. But what they're doing when they try to make things better is make things actually worse for everyone around them. And that's where the alleged stalking took place. And eventually he possibly saw the relationship between Joshua Hoffner and Jakira Battle becoming just that much closer. And as he saw the relationship between Jakira and Joshua getting that much closer, this is where Adam McCullough possibly wound up losing it. And as he wound up losing it, he basically got caught up in his emotions. And as he got caught up in his emotions, that's where he possibly came up with this plan to possibly deal with this woman who went out here and had the audacity to not look to submit to him and not look to have the relationship he wanted to have. That's where he went out here and looked to make his world smooth by getting rid of this woman, and did so in a way that basically led to a trail of evidence that led behind him, making him the prime suspect in Jakira Battle's murder. Now, according to reports, Adam McCullough basically arrived outside of her apartment in his Honda Civic, wearing a sweatshirt and carrying a rifle case, before he disappeared down an alley. And as he climbed the fire escape of that apartment, he basically is shown at about 4 p.m. or 4 a.m. outside of Jakira Battle's apartment, fleeing the scene without the case and the sweatshirt. And according to reports, basically he climbed the fire escape of the apartment building, came in through a roof door into Jakira Battle's apartment, and then allegedly began firing this AR-15 rifle into the bedroom of Jakira Battle. And as he fired this rifle at Jakira Battle, he wound up hitting her multiple times, including shooting her in the head. And as he was doing this, eventually Joshua Hoffner managed to get control of the gun and managed to save the life of Jakira's Battle baby and himself. But sadly, Jakira Battle was found dead inside the hallway of her apartment from the gunshot wound to the head. And after this is where Adam McCullough is seen fleeing the scene of the apartment without the case or the sweatshirt that was found on the building's roof. Basically, this dude, because he was so caught up in his feelings for this female, he wound up creating a trail of evidence as related to connecting him to this crime. And he's going to go from possibly being a free white beta male as related to this situation to winding up on the road to being in the county jail, to eventually being convicted of this crime. And after being convicted of this crime, he will go from being in a swirling relationship with this Jakira battle to possibly being in another swirling relationship that he possibly won't want to be in, where some dude is going to put his hands in his pockets and basically wind up trading him for Little Debbie snack cakes, ramen noodles, packets of Crystal Light lemonade, packets of Crystal Light tea, Keef coffee, Taster's Choice coffee, off-brand lemon lime drink, off-brand grape drink, off-brand fruit punch, off-brand mango drink, off-brand cranberry drink, off-brand fruit punch, off-brand ginger ale, off-brand Oreo cookies, off-brand duplex cookies, off-brand vanilla wafers, off-brand ginger snaps, Hunt's snack pack puddings, Velveeta cheese, beef jerky with cheese, beef jerky with mozzarella cheese, beef summer sausage, packages of hot peppers. I mean, this dude is going to wind up getting traded for all of the commissary, including the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pies, by the guy who puts his hand in his pocket to Bubba, Tiny, Roscoe, Big Dave, Melvin, and Mr. Sprinkles. And after they wind up trading him and spit roasting him, and wind up again filling his front side and his backside with beef summer sausages, he's going to go from being a Philadelphia Eagles tight end to a wide receiver. And as he's turned into a wide receiver by Bubba, Tiny, Roscoe, Big Dave, Melvin, and Mr. Sprinkles eventually will come in, spray that backside and that front side with his special sauce, then call all the guys from Cell Block D to see this white boy's face completely glazed over and his backside looking like the inside of a Louisiana crunch cake. And that's where this beta male will possibly regret the day he went out here looking to go out here and swirl. He will regret the day he did this, because he will realize the mistake he made was thinking that he could go out here and again stalk and harass this woman instead of going out here and charging her to the game. I mean, any healthy man out here who has his stuff together, when he sees a relationship basically be over, he's going to go out here and charge this woman to the game and keep it moving. But sadly, this dude didn't do that. No, he got caught up in his feelings about this black woman, who possibly again was thinking again she could come into this relationship the same way many black women think they can come into a relationship as related to things, thinking, hey, I'll get with this white boy and everything will be happily ever after because he's going to be my ideal. He's going to be my ideal because they've sat there watching all of these soap operas, reading all these romance novels, seeing the white boy be the ideal. But when they get into a real relationship with that white man, they find out that those fairy tales that they were reading don't lead to happily ever after. No, what happens to these black women who get involved with these white men and think they're going to get to happily ever after is that what happens is that many of them wind up in a tragic case of a divestment disaster. And that's possibly what happened here. This woman, Jakira Battle, at 22 years old, thought she had her dream man, thought she had her prince in this white man, thought this white man was going to be the ultimate ideal for her to be with as a man, thought she had gotten herself a prince, but what she got was a frog. She got herself a frog of a white man, and as he basically wound up showing himself, she found out that this man wasn't what she thought as related to the ideals of the white man. She deified and worshipped the man who she thought was going to be the perfect man for her, started to show all his flaws, and as he showed all of his flaws, again, that's where this woman's delusions of happily ever after sadly became this tragic case of another black woman suffering another divestment disaster. And this disaster basically left, again, a child without a mother. That's the sad part about this whole situation. A child being raised without a mother and is out here all by themselves. I mean, that's the tragedy that many black women don't think about as related to these situations. All they're thinking about is, I'm got me a white man, not understanding that if this white man in some cases is out here, he's basically one of these beta males. And again, with these beta males, you're never going to get to happily ever after, because these men in and of themselves are deeply troubled, and the only relationship you can have with a beta male is one that ends up in, again, a complete divestment disaster. Now, if you want to learn to identify one of these beta males so that you can go out here and avoid getting involved with them, I pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. And if you want to learn why these guys are simps, you can pick up my book, Stop Simping: Why Men Don't Need Finance to Get Romance, on Amazon.com as well. And you can also pick up my book, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, to learn why so many black women think that these guys are princes, and why any relationship you have with white men like this eventually ends up in failure. And if you want to see me make more videos talking about divestment disasters, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, A Thorn in My Side. The man who rules the world takes on an agent from the CIA, from the Black Boule, in this all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' A Thorn in My Side in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl. The aspiring angel takes on a wicked teenage witch in this action-packed, all-new Esteemed series adventure. Pick up your copy of Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers today.
Now available for the first time in paperback, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. Learn all the reasons why so many black women can't find a husband and why 70% of black women are single. Get your copy of Why 70% of Black Women Are Single on Amazon.com today.
Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.